Oh, great times. I enjoyed every minute.
Did you ever miss it? I'm just asking.
Yeah. I mean, it was good while it lasted, and it was like a part of my life. Just shut the door on. I enjoyed it, and just kind of move on with it.
So my one shot at stand-up comedy, and all I remember is the sugar frosted brown thing bit. I don't remember, and how hard we rehearsed that. And Michael was never happy with my delivery of it.
Because it was supposed to be. You didn't get that. You couldn't do it. You were like, no, not it's
He's giving me line reading. No, say it like this.
With those lyrics, or
You guys, it's funny. I never
sing a song.
I never thought you guys laughed at that after I left. But I will say this: I always thought, when I left, I thought, and I guess you thought, move on and do other stuff. I mean, that was some really good stuff that we did there. And obviously, you guys are talking about 10 years of stuff I didn't do. but I mean, you look at some of the. I thought it was, like George was saying, I think it's one of those things where maybe if you had a break or the things would have gone differently, you don't know where you would have been, or like I said, Drew Carey went out in his car and lived there for 6 months until he got until basically he got some jobs in LA, and I don't know what the difference is. They're different paths, but it wasn't a matter of talent. I thought the stuff, in retrospect, the stuff was really innovative and funny, and I mean, again, you guys had a career on it, which is great, but it's interesting to think that maybe we could have even done more, especially when we were together, the four of us.
I was going to Akron U after I quit my real job, and I was just trying to go back to college to pretend I was doing something, and there was a flyer on the wall that said tryouts for a comedy theater, and I thought, oh hell, I've been making movies for years, I'll try out for the comedy theater, and then one thing led to another, and all this. So no, I do not regret a moment of it. I think it was fantastic. It was the best time of my life, and I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for them. Good. I would not go back to anything. Cheers. I would change a damn thing. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, really.
Cheers.
Those generics up close. Yeah.
Those generics.
All right, Michael, wrap it up.
All right. It just basically kind of.
Hasn't he said enough already?
Well, let's start here. It was the late 1970s, and I was just out of high school and was handed a nice paying job working the midnight shift as a computer operator at the prestigious Timken Company in Canton, Ohio. It was a time when computers took up entire floors of buildings. They used punch cards, and they looked like they came off the set of old James Bond films. My family couldn't have been happier for me, but I was obsessed with doing comedy. I wrote any funny idea I had on blank punch cards at work. I tried out bits on confused workers. All I wanted to do was stand-up comedy. I wanted to do it really bad. And that's just what I did. I did it really bad. I got up the nerve to do a handful of my original jokes with a nice array of stolen material from the National Lampoon Comedy Hour, and did the local mall's Make Me Laugh competition. It was basically going one-on-one with the contestant and trying to make them laugh. If they laughed, they lost. Well, I did well enough to head into the next tier, local bars. I don't remember much about that, other than friends and family supplying me with pity applause. Then the news broke that around '79, a real comedy club was opening. The Cleveland Comedy Club, right in the heart of downtown. It was Mecca. It was one of the first real comedy clubs in the Midwest. It's kind of weird, I can't find any history of it anywhere. It's almost like it didn't exist. I would go there every other Sunday night for amateur night and then dash down to Canton to work the midnight shift. The Cleveland Indians baseball stadium's there now. The stage was right around where home plate is currently. My record at bat was abysmal. I was green-lighted off the stage all but once. I tried impressions, musical comedy, props. I was pretty much a one-man Special Olympics of comedy. Yeah, joke's considered offensive now. Back then, you could kill with jokes about retards, Polacks, hillbillies. They were all fairly interchangeable. This year and a half of constantly dying on stage at real comedy clubs didn't make me stronger, just made me more desperate. And I started to get physically ill, writing and practicing and refining my routines, all housed in impending doom. And I have a hurricane. It wasn't anything close to enjoyable, but I couldn't stop until one stormy night in August 1980. It was a miserable drive to the club through a torrential downpour. Well, I managed to get to the club to try out my latest combination of dirty jokes peppered with magic store props, trick ropes, and rubber dildos, only to find out I was one of only 3 sign-ups that night. Henry Bugsby, who sang love songs about cockroaches, and Hippie Joe Jordan, a biker that was a walking, drunken 3rd-grade joke book. Of course, I won amateur night that night, only after 18 months of trying. The audience was mostly waitstaff. Dino, the club owner, who was tired of seeing me, and his mother. She was in the front row cheering loudly for me due to the fact that either I was the only guy on stage that didn't look like a felon, or she felt bad for me because during the course of the evening, I somehow managed to shit myself. I never wore that white Steve Martin style suit ever again. I took my $50 check and hastily departed. I called off work sick that night and never went back to the Cleveland Comedy Club. Well, there had to be another way to do comedy, a way to feel comfortable, confident, and free-thinking on stage. So a friend suggested theater training. Improvisational classes at the Canton Players Guild was my next stop. Local theater improv classes had it all. An atmosphere to instantly do whatever you were thinking on stage and not be judged. It was a hotbed of extroverted, neurotic narcissists. And for the first time anywhere, I fit in. As a bonus, most of the theater girls were crazy, uninhibited, and sexually frustrated. And if there's one thing I've learned, is that if you can make a woman laugh, your chances of having sex with them are vastly improved. So as you watch the clips from these early theater projects, you can play a guessing game and try and figure out which girl in each cast I was boning. So after a year or so of theater classes, I started to assemble a cast of characters to perform some of my writing. I was highly influenced by early SCTV, so I went out and bought a video camera in 1981 and put together the generic comedy hour. Lord knows what I was thinking. There was no market, outlet, or venue for this total waste of time. And aside from my Bob Crane style use of the Betamax camera, it was a total waste of money. Here's the opening, and about as much as anyone can stand of the actual content. It's weird to think that this first bit we filmed was actually filmed in 1981. It would be recycled into the closing routine that those generics did on stage 17 years later.
Hello, this is Reverend Arnold Angley, for Reverend Arnold Angley's Shoe Repair Shop. Yes, I can save your soul, and heal. Yeah. Now, some of you people out there may wonder just how I got into the shoe repair business. Well, I was just walking down the street one day, and a vision appeared before me. Yes, I saw a holy shoe, and as I picked up that shoe, an archangel appeared before me, and he spoke to me. Of course, he spoke to me in tongues.
I skimmed through the digital transfer of the generic comedy theater from 1983, and it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's amazing what you can forget over the course of 30 years. The cast was sharp, and at times, my writing was approaching adequate. We rehearsed the 90-minute show for a few weeks and had 2 sold-out shows. Well, the tickets were only 99 cents, but the theater was aghast that I was using their actors and their stage for my crass shenanigans. Well, first off, I gave a hearty slap in the face to the uber-serious play, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I filled the ward with victims of stoogeholism. A mental disorder where you're obsessed with the Three Stooges. Lines like, "Why, I'll lobotomize you," and "electroshock therapy." So it was slapstick in a psych hospital. It's a good match in my book. Then there was the exciting adventures of Pope John Paul II. It was Batman for Catholics. The Pope and altar boy matched wits with the Cardinal. He was a mix of the Joker and the Riddler. The actors did well with this. The uptight religious folks from the audience? Not so much.
This last little prank was set just for you. I've snuck in skunk incense so your church will have pew.
Oh, the old bathroom sense, Pope. He really did it this time.
You're right, altar boy. We've got to stop him before he makes me the laughing stock of the Vatican. Quick, into the Pope-mobile. Anything yet?
Wait a minute. I'm trying to track him on the Pope scope. Wait, I'm picking up something now. Holy Michelangelo, Pope. He's at the Sistine Chapel. Quick, hang a left. Your Excellency. Holy meat on Friday, Pope. He's got to be here somewhere.
Another look. Now I've switched your communion. It's sure to inspire. They're called Red Hot Toast and will give tons of fire. This is too much. I'll make sure that he... Whoa! My sin detector is blinking. Cargo can't be too far off.
Just ran you to enemy, Pope. Holy double crosses, Pope. We're going to get him down from there.
You distract him and I'll try to dab him with invisible Pope rope.
Here he is, Pope.
Well, Cardinal, what have you got to say for yourself?
Gosh, Pope, I'm awfully sorry.
Do you honestly mean that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I forgive you. You can go free. Come on, old boy. Let's get back to the Vatican before we're missed. Into the Pope-mobile.
Holy repentance, Pope. You're the greatest.
Not the greatest, altar boy, but not too far down the line.
After the generic comedy theater show, things were going well. It brought a bit of confidence, and it was a nice outlet from my miserable computer job. But then somehow I strayed away from easy theater girls and fell in love with a pretty but melancholy coworker. We had nothing in common. And the sex wasn't even that great. To this day, I can't wrap my head around how crazy I was about her. Needless to say, after a few months, she grew distant and casually dumped me during a lunch break. I can still taste tears whenever I eat a little Debbie Nutty Buddy. It's hard to believe, but because of that, I spent an entire year celibate, doing nothing with my spare time other than writing the cathartic play, 15 Generic Love Scenes. I'm somewhat proud of the writing and production, but in hindsight, I'd easily traded for a year of pussy. So here's Dream Date. It holds up pretty well. George, with pantyhose over his head, kidnaps a random woman, only to force her to go on a nice date. They dine at a fine restaurant by knife point, go to the movies where his favorite slasher film is showing, and he takes her to an abandoned warehouse to meet his, quote, mom and dad, who are bound and gagged strangers. He schedules to kidnap her again for a second date. It's cute. Then, once again, I wanted to take a jab at classic theater productions in Ohio. So here's the Hillbilly Shakespearean Square Dance Company's version of Romeo and Juliet. And I can see how the Canton Players Guild was glad we got out of there. It was easy leaving theater with George and McDonald. Comedy nights were springing up everywhere. Off nights in hotels, bars, restaurants, pretty much any place that has karaoke now had comedy then. In the strip malls, grade Z comedy clubs with names like Stitches, Chuckles, Jokers, Ha-Has, Cartoons, Funnies, The Laugh Stop, The Comedy Factory. What are they now? Probably Dollar General stores. You know, as a kid, I always thought the world would end in 1984. Instead, everybody just wanted to have a good time and laugh. They couldn't get enough of live comedy nights. Those generics hit the ground running. Being a team, we were instantly boosted to the middle or headlining slot. Plus, we were unique. We weren't stand-ups, not a traditional comedy team or an improv group, but some weird high-energy hybrid of slapstick, word puns, lowbrow humor, satire, music, and audience participation. It was all tight, fast, and laugh-oriented. It was a live show that was structured similar to theater because we worked with what is known as a fourth wall in front of the audience. With this formula, I can honestly say we were never heckled once in our nearly 15-year history.
It was the beginning of comedy in this area.
Sure,
yeah,
absolutely.
It really was. So it was ugly for a while. Bands playing the gritty gigs and just going out there and play and playing bars and that's what we did. Yeah. We did comedy everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere. I can remember stepping into bars and stuff and saying, "Yeah, we're here for the comedy night." And go over there by the dartboard. Because there was a light on the dartboard, and they literally turn it out like this, and that was the stage. You guys did the first generic theater. Right. And then at some point, it must have been advertising, because that's where I picked it up. Right. On a board down at Akron News, it's something about advertising for a comedy stage show or something. Yeah, exactly. And I thought, well, I'll go check that out. And then, when we got together, I was showing you some of my old video tapes and stuff. Right. Then somewhere along the line, we decided, screw the theater thing, let's go make some money.
These improv groups, which is sort of a different animal.
Yeah.
Everybody else was a solo act.
This was more stage. Yeah, it was more stage. Yeah. But
everybody else was a solo act. I always thought that was a smart way to go, because the single act guy, it's repetitious. There's a certain similarity about everybody. Three guys, you could do anything.
How long were you in? 1 year for Michael, 1 year for Vic.
What year did you? What year?
84. It was 84. Yeah.
84. No, was that when the theater thing happened, or?
Yeah, I was in the first theater.
Do you remember the first thing you did in theater that made me crack up? No. You did your imitation of a piece of chewing gum. Do you remember your imitation of a piece of chewing gum?
No.
Yeah, you stood up and you were like, it was like one of these. You went like this, then you went. Then you start. Then you went like this and you put yourself under a chair.
I wanted to be the straight guy. I wanted to have all my lines. I wanted to have all my music. Yeah. As long as I knew what I was doing, I was fine.
Yeah, we have that resume where it actually says, what did we write about you? Okay, this is what it says.
It says great first wife.
Michael got his start in comedy through a theater background in music. He's always been involved with music in one form or another, and was a successful nightclub singer while residing in Canada.
Oh, that's right, I was. I forgot all about that.
He found an interest in comedy through improvisation workshops and has blended his singing and comedy styles together. You just have to figure out which one's which.
Now, McDonald was more of a theater guy than a comic. He was in both early theater shows and provided the straight man character at the nightclub shows. He might not have been as comfortable on stage with the comedy club crowd, but he did pretty much everything me and George asked him to do. No drama. But we learned early on that his personal life just took more precedence over any gig. As we got drawn into more out-of-town shows and tours, he just quietly tipped out.
You don't realize just how traumatic it was when you left. It really shook us up. But then we got over it. And then it was really traumatic when Vic left. And then we got over it.
Yes, it's Mr. Potato Head's greatest hits. Yes, you'll get all the hits that made Mr. Potato Head tops, like, but I only have fries for you. And everyone's favorite, peelings, nothing more than peeling. Of course, you'll get all the songs that really made Mr. Potato Head cook, like Hot Spotted Chicken Sea, I'm in the fryer and I'm oven free. And also, Hog Rotten the Law and the Law One. Hog Rotten the Law and the Law One. And who can forget Bad hash browns. Best bud in the whole damn town.
Great to see you. I know, I haven't seen him for 30 years.
Really? 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. Is that creepy?
That is creepy.
Yeah. Just local theater stuff for the most part. Really? Okay. Even now? Oh, sure. I'm actually in a show right now. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's called the generic thing.
What's that called? Those generics get together after 30 freaking years.
It was probably me, but I felt that our comedy would only work with 3 guys. The hunt for a third guy was on the way. We combed open mic nights for prospects, and believe it or not, my other choice was to ask Drew Carey to join us. He was just starting out then. But then I met this affable comic musician, Vic Gideon, and thought, that's our man. Me and Vic also put together a comedy music duo called Do It Yourself that we incorporated into shows. So enter Vic. And it was a good thing for Drew Carey too. We easily would have sunk his career.
But the do-it-yourself, so we had a duo, so we could take all the money. So I could open for $50.
That's right.
Do-it-yourself could do it for $100, and then the generics were like $250.
I forgot
so we
about-
got like $400 to do the whole show. And it was all different.
Oh, the best one is the Sam Kinison story.
Oh,
so
Sam.
we went to Sam Kinison. They called us at the last minute to drive down to Columbus.
Is this true?
This
Right
is true.
before he died.
Right before he died.
Yeah.
This got great.
It was like
punchline.
$50 and
That's- I think
tickets to
that
Eddie
killed.
Belkin show. Something like that. It was like crazy. It was a Belkin show.
Yeah.
So they gave us a couple of tickets and $50.
And
On this big dollar show, that's all they would
we
give.
had to get the Columbus.
Was it the
stuff.
Newport?
The Newport,
The
exactly.
Newport, I remember that. Absolutely.
So we drove down there, and it was a white knuckle ride. And we luckily
You were all that white knuckle ride.
I think you got shotgun on that one.
You always get shotgun.
It's a film
Oh,
title.
here we go.
Write that down.
6/6/86. Columbus open for Sam Kinison.
Wow.
Yeah, $100.
Under $100. Oh, we only told
We got tickets.
We only told him 50. I only told him 50. Asshole. We get there, and I remember after the show, Sam is like, Sam is like this big, gross, sweaty mess, and he comes over
We're
to
trying to
you.
be buddies with them.
Yeah, he comes over to you. He comes over to you. He goes, oh, you know, if you're ever
I sweat through my shirt. He goes, I sweat through my shirt.
you go, you know,
I go, George, give me your shirt.
what does George say to Sam Kinison? Yes, what did you say? You said, quote, I'm not giving that fat, sweaty blob nothing. That's gonna hurt. He mumbled that in the truck after his accident when he was dying. That was the
Last words.
His last words.
Right?
Filmmaker Terry Podner began to make a documentary on us in 1986. He never finished it, but George got the footage and then used it for a project in his television production class. And then I thought I'll use it as a promo video to send to agents for gigs. My brother worked for a video distribution company, so I had hundreds of free short movie preview videos, and I sent these videos everywhere. With the glut of comics vying for work though, most agents wouldn't even watch your tape. I guess they just figured if you sent a video, you couldn't be too horrible.
Hi, we're those generics, and we'd like to start with a little thing we call Joke Jeopardy. Take it.
Well, see, it's time again for another exciting round of Joke Jeopardy. This is the game where we provide the punchlines and the contestants provide the straight lines for big cash prizes. Yes, our categories today, animal, miscellaneous, groaners. We'll start with our champion, George. What category would you like?
Oh, let's try animals for 10, Art.
Okay. The answer is feminine protection for whales.
Oh, what are tampoons?
Yes, that's correct. Your selection. On a comeback.
Oh, let's try for 30.
The answer is monkey poop.
What is Reese's Feces?
That's correct, George. Your selection. I believe we have 40 left on the animal.
Okay, let's try animal for 40, Art.
Okay. Birth control for deer.
What are no-dos?
So I think Joke Jeopardy is really one of the real innovative.
It's a
bits.
good way, yeah, it's a good way to get the crowd warmed up. It's a lot of word puns and things.
Yeah. But it's also good to pick up the show in the middle. You know what I mean? If we have it in the middle of the show.
Pretty much good anytime.
Around the end, too.
Afternoons for lunch, a light lunch. It's
Kind of like
good.
peanut butter.
It's definitely one of the strong points, having 3 different personalities interacting in a
sick and distorted way.
As far as personalities go, not saying this guy's like this guy's like that, this guy's like this.
No, it's more like this guy's like this guy's like this, and that guy's like that.
Exactly.
Well, the one thing that I enjoy is that it's when George or Michael write a bit, it's never like, oh, I wish I could have wrote that because I can't. Because I'm so darn glad that I'm not writing that junk.
I like tag team a great deal. I think tag team is a real special part of those generics because it's individual, yet at the same time it's all of us working together. You know, it's helping us each. You know, it's like tag me, get me out of here.
I'll say tag team's my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah, because
it's my favorite too.
Because of that's right.
I like bad dances.
Tag team is my favorite because it does have the vast, difference in personalities and vast difference in material that we cover.
Yeah.
I like it. It's fast paced, and generally if something bombs, something else will come right along and bomb.
That's a good thing. I mean, a lot of times comedians, when they take chances, you have a guy doing stand-up and something doesn't work, and there's kind of an awkward, embarrassing sort of a moment there for the audience or for the performer. In tag team, not that the bits are designed not to work, but if they don't,
but they don't.
But if they don't, if there is that moment that is not connecting with the audience, it's the whole format can carry the whole bit. That it's not working. Get me the heck out of here! Tag me, and that's funny too.
It's time for another exciting round of tag team comedy. Hey,
tag team. We're going to start tag team off a little bit differently tonight. We're going to start off with a pantomime. This is my pantomime of a man juggling live sticks of dynamite. Ooh, here we go. Good night!
I'm going to milk this. This is a quick impression of Andy Rooney if he were to be on cable television. Did you ever notice that the first two letters in the word pussy are P-U?
Attention Kmart shoppers. Attention Kmart shoppers. Will the owner of a blue Cordova, license number ALD360, your lights have been on for the past 5.5 hours. Attention Kmart shoppers. Attention Kmart shoppers. Our blue light special tonight is jumper cables. Just $189 a set. So thank you for shopping at Kmart.
Okay, this is a special request number for that guy over there. Another pantomime. This time, a pantomime of a man juggling razor-sharp meat cleavers. Here we go. Friends, have you been thinking about vasectomy, but you just don't have the balls? Are you tired of the pills, the dills, the gels, the jams, the IUD, the IOU, the UOME, the UFOs, whatever? Maybe it's time you come into Vasectomy Shack. Yeah. We ain't no clip joint, we'll snip you, not jip you. And if you're a little short on time, hey, don't get testy. Oh my. Try our new drive-through window. So this Father's Day, get your old man a tie that's really gonna last. Pack up your sack and get on down to Vasectomy Shack.
Now a commercial from the Soviet Union. Skratupo, tovarich, new from Bronco. Kaya starada upo medic. Garas gaskamo ingier rubo, mounds and mounds of coleslaw. Kaya gaskara no, Julian fries. Eres tu skundo, that amazing. Eres tu skundo, Yandoy. Does it really catch fish? Kaya gaskara no, plus this special feature. Yay, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later.
Dance Academy. That's one of my all-time favorites. For the simple reason that if you actually take a lot of the skits apart, you'll see the jokes. And you'll say, oh, this is Vasectomy Shack is about a man getting a vasectomy. There's actually jokes involved in there. But bad dance, there really isn't any jokes, and if I explain it to anybody,
it's more slapstick, motion and stuff.
Yeah, and that's something that I've had a hard time. I'm not able at this moment to do something like that. I have to actually say, well, what's funny about this? But if somebody explained bad dance to me, I wouldn't understand it. I'd say, what's so funny about three guys dancing on stage?
What are you saying to me?
Hey, look at that! Get a load of that guy on the dance floor. He's
That's the
terrible.
worst dancer I've
I've ever seen in my life. Can you believe that?
I can't believe that.
What a terrible dancer!
This guy is making me mad.
That will be enough of that. You fellows are just jealous.
Yeah, I know, but where can we learn how to dance that bad?
Yeah. At the Bad Dancing Academy. That's where we'll teach you today's worst dance steps and the most embarrassing ways in which to do them.
That sounds great.
I'll give it a try.
Yes, in no time at all, you'll be stealing the dance floor with dances like the sway. And the pathetic robot. And you'll be the hit of any party once you start to get down with dances like the washing machine. Yes, you've seen it at parties. Now you can master it for yourself. It's the drunken idiot. Here at the Bad Dance Academy, you'll learn the intricate steps of the samba. The mambo. And the Rambo. It's all here at the Bad Dance Academy. Call today.
Where are you guys headed?
We're going after the bar after this.
To the toppermost of the poppermost, I believe.
I really like right your personal joke.
I don't know what it is, but I'm laughing.
These poems, Mike.
It's very contagious.
Oh, your hair's all messed up.
It's very contagious. It's crazy. I didn't understand it, but I thought it was funny. That's hopefully one thing we can translate to generics. If you can't understand what we're doing, at least you'll laugh. There are three funny guys having a good time with a lot of the energy.
Let's hear it for those generics! Those generics!
Well, you've seen the video. Now check out Those Generics in person. To get in touch with Those Generics, call 499-7451.
Now when Vic joined, things got real. Our touring live show grew slick and diverse. We were doing a bit of local TV and radio too. But there was now a pack mentality. Vic managed to get on George's nerves pretty fast. It's surprising after a year on the road, things never got violent.
I might beat Vic up tonight. Just for old times' sake. They have now Wedding Crashers and those kind of guys and all those dudes that play those movies now. Vic was like that when he first started.
Yeah.
Vic was like the bachelor who lived by himself, would show up, he would show up, and he had a
milk stained
glass with a milk stain burned on him like that, and then he had wine in it. The milk stain was like this, would sit in his sink for like a month, and then he just pour wine over it and start drinking.
And then he would have like sauerkraut balls that he took from like the buffet a couple
and
weeks
he had
ago.
on the back of my new car when he throws his guitar stack in there. plus those damn heaters, defroster things. Yeah, like that. And it's like the guy had no concern about anybody except himself.
But he really was amazing there.
He seemed like the classy act of the three of them. Oh my God! He was an animal with shoes on.
One shoe.
It was untied. Waiting in a car somewhere else at someone's house while Vic goes in to see what's going on in the neighborhood. And then me saying, you in the car, like, I'm not putting up with this shit. He's got to go.
I have to go?
And then 2 weeks later, you're gone.
My favorite
Your favorite bit that you did. Your favorite
I think anytime your mouth was not moving, it was a good time. I'll tell you that I was just, when you guys talk about Joke Jeopardy, I will say this, when you open with Joke Jeopardy and it kills in the beginning, you're set. Yeah. You go, this is going to be a good night. And when you struggle with Joke Jeopardy, you go, this is as good as it gets.
Have you ever done any comedy after this?
I never did any comedy during this.
Haven't you seen this news broadcast? Hilarious. I keep them all on tape. I was watching. They're great.
They asked me to go up to, and I do it at Hilarities downtown, like I'll MC the show. Really? Like once a month, something like that. Yeah.
This is amateur night or the regular show?
Yeah, they call it Pro-Am now. Amateur.
Pro-Am.
Amateur's a little bit derogatory. Yes, and by the way, if the need was there, I would steal whatever I could from generics. I did, like a year ago, I pulled some people up on stage and played It's Your Money.
See, I remember It's Your Money.
Yeah, I used tampoons and...
Wow. How'd it go over?
Not that well.
All right. This was your replacement for about 5 minutes.
Damn. After Vic left, we still felt like we needed a third guy. Oh, no. This was not George's facial expression when Vic quit. Now, okay, well, back to our story. So as far as comedy teams go, we started with a Zeppo Marks. Then we went to a Shemp Howard. Now we had to deal with Kevin, a third-rate Curly Joe Dorita. Kevin was not only painfully unfunny and uncomfortable on stage, but irritating and bizarre offstage. During the course of his only tryout gig with us, he spoke mostly in a high-pitched girl voice, incessantly played the Peanuts theme on his little Casio keyboard, and did naked push-ups in our hotel room. I shit you not. George and I agreed in an instant that we couldn't do any worse as a duo. So overnight, we tightened the material, became even more animated, and used an audience member when we needed a third body on stage. And also, we made the decision to become money-making road comics instead of moving to one of the coasts to starve and struggle for the chance of being discovered. So we hit the road for 10 more years until the comedy scene dried up in the mid-1990s. What do you want to know about George? He's a martial arts dude and currently owns a Tai Chi and Kung Fu school, so physically he was also a force to be reckoned with. A creature of discipline and habit. On the road, he was pretty much on a diet of McDonald's and cheap powdered cherry-aid drink mix. We got along fine over the period of 10 years as a team. We didn't get too personal, had a laissez-faire attitude towards planning a future, and always demanded separate rooms. It was a pleasant, bad marriage. In 1984, he answered my ad for a comedy theater show, probably just after working out. He had sweatpants, a t-shirt, and a stack of curious videos he wanted me to watch. You want to watch some of them? They made quite a first impression.
Hey kids, it's me, Mr. Potato Head, and I'm here today to tell you about my new pal, Mr. Shithead. Say hello, Mr. Shithead. Hey kids, how you doing? Hi. Oh, look who's come to town today. It's Mr. Shithead and he's come to play. Mr. Shithead, he's so fun. Just drop him in the toilet when you're done. Mr. Shithead comes complete with a wide variety of pieces to make dozens of combinations. All you need do is add shit, and you're set for hours of fun. Mr. Shithead's car and outfits are sold separately. Shit not included. Blow me! Come on. Blow me! That's right, I said blow me, the new bubble gum that makes blowing fun again. Hi, I'm Bobby Bubble, And this is my new gum that I just know you're gonna love. You can blow big, bigger, the biggest bubbles in the world. So if you like gum, and if you like blowing, just pop me in your mouth and blow me. And don't forget, now Blow Me comes in 3 new flavors: pork, salami, and raw meat. So whatever your favorite, just remember one thing: blow me!
What's wrong with you? Fucking nothing's wrong with me, fucker. Look what the fuck you do to my fucking bumper. Fuck your bumper and fuck you. I hope you have fucking insurance to cover this fucking mess, so go fuck yourself. Oh yeah? Well, fuck you. Fuck you.
Hey, you dumb fucker! Get the fuck out of the middle of the fucking road!
Fuck you!
And here's George's.
Uh-oh, this could get ugly.
George is a comedy writer and filmmaker. His work has aired on public television.
I might have lied.
No, I'm sorry, it says pubic television.
I might have lied.
In addition to these projects, George has a solid background in media communications and drama.
That's right. I had 3.
Experiments.
You did it.
Yeah, I did not. He experiments with videotape concepts and can juggle.
You remember my extent of my juggling in our comedy?
No, you're juggling.
Man juggling 3 chainsaws. Really? The fake hand falls off?
Yeah.
Oh, one of my favorite ones was the phone against the wall.
The phone against the wall.
Where was that? Was up in Painesville or something.
What was that? I don't remember the phone on the wall.
Oh yeah, remember that idiot? We finished a couple shows or whatever, and the guy goes, "Well, you know, we didn't have a good crowd, so I'm going to give you a third or whatever you're supposed to get."
Oh yeah, I can see it.
I'm like, you know, no, I want my money and that kind of stuff, and he refused to give us our money. So he had an old-fashioned desk phone.
Those were new at the time. Yeah. They're old-fashioned now.
And
they were state-of-the-art.
on his desk there, and I said, "Well, can I borrow your phone?" You sit back like that, and he pushed it towards me, and I took it off, and I took the thing off, and I said, "Move about this far," and I threw the phone at the wall behind him. And then we ran and got our shit out and left the hotel. And then there was like a place back of the club we were staying.
Right.
So we were getting out here and all the cops on us. Basically, bottom line is we always wanted to get 2 rooms because we couldn't stand to be living in the same room after 10 years on the road. Right. So I'd come over and my room was whatever a hotel room would look like normally. And then I'd go over and we'll go to lunch in the morning and I'd knock on Michael's door and you'd open it up. And he'd be standing there with like a towel around himself, soaking wet, and it was like some kind of, you know, hot house or something. It was so freaking hot that if you walked in here, you'd start to gag and pass out because it was so hot. And he was sweating with a towel on. He goes, "Oh, I'm almost ready." And then you'd say, "Oh, I have to use your bathroom." You go in there, it's like, "Oh my God!" It was like they took some wildebeest and just beat it to death in there with a hose or something. There was hair everywhere.
Yeah, there was hair everywhere.
It was like... What? What? No, I'm doing some bullshit for Michael. Okay. All right. Michael asked me to talk about one of the worst gigs we ever had in all the years we did on the road. And that's saying something, because we didn't have a lot of bad gigs, but this is one of them. This is 2792 W.W. Williams Company, corporate gig, in Charleston, South Carolina. In a world where those generics are sold as 2 Jerry Seinfelds, this shit happened. So we get this great offer for this gig to go down to Charleston, South Carolina, fly down on a private jet, get paid lots of money, food included. It was a whole day trip. It was fantastic. We flew out of, I think it was out of Columbus. We had to get down early in the morning and fly out of Columbus. And
So we get there early, we fly down there, we get down in Charlotte about, I don't know, it was probably about noon or something. So we got like 7 hours until the gig itself. So we're walking around Charlotte all day, we're eating this food, okay? This food is tremendous. I think we spent like $150 they charged to them for our lunch or dinner or whatever. We're walking around Charlotte. Oopsie. We'll walk around. Oh shit. Okay, so we're walking around and we know we're gonna get hammered. You can just feel it coming. Walking around, you start to just feel sick all day long. So finally, we get down to showtime, so to speak. So we're in there getting ready to go on stage. And before that, they're doing a bunch of announcements and stuff. You know, how good everybody did and how good the company's doing. But unfortunately, we're probably gonna have to have some layoffs this year. So, you know, it's too bad. But for now, here's those generics for some comedy. They're like 2 Jerry Seinfelds. Oh boy, Scradupo! So we go on stage, and the volunteer that we usually get out of the audience, we bring this nice lady up, and she comes up on stage to do Joke Jeopardy, and anyway, so I start to ask her name. So what's your name? And she grabs the microphone and says, well, I don't know about that, but I do know that Jesus Christ is our Savior, and He died for our sins. And the room was just dead silent, and we're all in shock. Oh, do you ever notice bath salts? I'm not taking a bath, and they don't taste like salt. Am I missing something? You still got it. Woohoo! Oh, look here, 3D. Can't beat that kind of comedy. And we go on stage and this lady says that and it's just dead silence. Every joke we did from there on, it was just like boom, 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 getting punched in the gut. It was the worst thrashing I've ever seen or felt in my life. Nothing worked. None of our regular jokes worked at all. We were trying everything we possibly could and it was just dead silence. They hated us so much that nothing was working. Nothing at all was working. And we were supposed to do 45 minutes. We probably did maybe 20, 25 minutes. Got off stage, dead silence. It was like it was a funeral or something. It was horrendous. And we're thinking like, oh my God, they're not even going to fly us back to Ohio. We're going to be stranded here. They hate us. They hate our guts. But imagine this. They actually, you know, we came in a limousine. They actually took us back in a limousine. Didn't say a damn word to us. Got us on the plane. We took off. I thought they were going to throw us out the plane at altitude or something, but what happens is the whole way back, it's like a 2.5 hour flight, we're flying back, looking out the windows, trying to just be home. We just didn't want to be there. We hated it so much. Just sick. I had like a metallic taste in my mouth from just awful feeling I was carrying around all day long. So anyway, 2.5 hours, they don't say a damn thing to us. Not, hey, how's 2 Jerry Seinfelds doing? Or anything. Didn't say anything to us. And we finally get back. We jump off the plane. I think I ran out onto the tarmac and kissed the ground just to be glad to be back. And long story short, it's the worst gig ever. Hated it, wouldn't want to do it over, but it didn't seem to have any long-lasting effects on me, and I wouldn't want to do it over, but, you know, whatever. So that's the worst gig I've ever had in my life, and that's it. Thank you. Oh. God damn it! Son of a...
There he is, right
do it. You do it. You do it.
I did this stuff for years on my own, making Super 8 films and crap. I didn't know how to do the business side. That guy got me into comedy because I watched him and I go, hell, if he could do it.
And I saw George, you know, he quit his horrible job.
Look how good I turned out.
So I'm thinking, wow, I really want to quit this job, but my family can't know I'm quitting this great job that I'm supposed to be at until I retire. You know, I went to Timken, I was born in Timken Hospital, I went to Timken High School, and they take some of the students and give them like Timken Company. I was a computer operator there. So I was supposed to be there 30 years, then retire, and I forgot, I don't know if I like this idea. So I started doing this comedy thing, and I'm thinking, there's got to be a way that I could figure this out and not just say I quit my job and end up, you know, being ostracized by my family.
Because you'd never be able to get back in.
Right,
I didn't realize that.
Exactly. So they just put me back on midnight shift again. I'm like, shit. So I figured I came up with this plan. So I said, okay, here's what I'll do. I want to book all these gigs starting July 5th, and this was like 6 months back. Yeah. All these gigs every weekend. I want to really actively start calling agents and just start booking everything I can. So then, 6 months prior to that, I told my parents, I said, well, you know, Timken Company's going through some rough times, and they're laying me me off. So I pretended to be laid off. I would go over there and hang out during the day, then I would work at Timken at night. And 6 months went by, and I said, well, my unemployment ran out, but I'm going on the road to do comedy.
And for years, you think they're going to call you back? You think they're going to call you back?
My dad.
I mean, my dad, he died thinking he was laid
I told
off.
him while he was in a coma. I thought he might have said it. I appreciate that.
You thought it might bring him out?
No, my favorite one was the comedy dugout where we were with AJ Jamal, and we're all done after the show. We open for him, and this woman comes over, goes to you, you're really funny. Goes to Vic, you're really funny. Goes to me and says,
I hope you have a good education.
All I can say is I should have had a good education. Welcome to Bingo Night at the Tiki Lounge. How many people are uber excited to be here?
Listen to Zombo in your brain on WRCT Pittsburgh. This show is supposed to be fun, but I'm sorry, I'm going to educate you at the same time. I'm going to play you some music you've never heard before. I'm going to tell you some things that everybody's afraid to tell you. Do what you want to do, for crying out loud. You big baby, you used to be like, well, I'm stuck at this job forever. No, you're stuck in that job till they're done with you. People always say, oh, people who are like self-employed, I really can't understand that. I got the security of a job. Really? How many people do you know that have been at a job like 17 years? And all of a sudden it's like, well, you know, we're downsizing here, and we're just going to put you in this other department. And then, you know what? Might as well just take your box of stuff and go home. They have your stuff in a box for you to go home, and they have you escorted out with a security person. Because you're no longer of use. The whole idea of job security is gone. So, like at this computer job I was at, I was losing my hair. Don't have to worry about that now. I was losing my hair. I was losing my hearing. I was having panic attacks just due to the fact that the job was so rotten. And how management works it was just ran by evil hillbillies. I'm just telling you. And people think there are no escape. I was like breaking out in like boils all over my body, just like skin rashes. Yeah, that's what these guys. And I'm not alone. You think, well, he just can't handle the stress of a job. Yeah, I'm just telling you about what really happens. What really happens? You go home from work and you just have it just beat out of you. You have it beat out of you, and you take it out on somebody else. It is modern day feudalism. It really is. It's modern day slavery. It's indentured servitude. You want to know the best day? You want to know the best day of a job? I was working at this computer place, and I was working this big machine. It was a card printer. It actually printed. It was card punches because it was back then. And it's card punches, and you had to print. It printed on the card. And a lot of times the cards got all backed up in the machine, and they got all crunched up, and you had to remake the cards. Well, I'm opening the machine up, and I find out that the fuse, it needs a new fuse, which is like on the top of the machine, so I unscrewed the fuse. So obviously, this is the best day, I'm telling you, this is the best day of this job I've ever had. I was there like 9 years. I unscrew it to replace the fuse. I touch both poles, and I get shocked. I get thrown across the room, and I don't know where I am for like 45 minutes. That was the best day of that job because I did not know where I was. This is why people self-medicate. Here's what you do. You make a list. You make 2 lists. You make one list of the things you like to do, and then you make another list of how you can make money doing them. You'll be surprised. And that is how you beat the man at his own game. That's how you create an uncompromised life of modest success. That's how you win. I guess you should see a bit of the final product. Here's a few live clips. Now, we played over 1,000 shows, mostly B-level comedy clubs, hotels, bars on the East Coast, Midwest, and Southern U.S. Most of the material hadn't changed much in the decade while we were on the road. I think George liked the comfortability of a refined routine that we knew worked well with audiences. He wasn't receptive to much, if any, of my new material. So after a while, I just gave up on writing and enjoyed the ride. Hopefully you can too.
To the
vistos cayovastos, vis jaritas. Hello, we're those generics. Cada vistas to Jim, io vistas to Tim. He's Michael and I'm George. Oh, gire vistas to Rustavogestavest. What a beautiful young lady. What's your name?
Laurie.
Lori. Cada vista Lori. You have beautiful eyes, Lori. Cada vista Rustavestas, Lori. Beautiful, large, firm eyes. No, Kajo vosi restuliskera poritiro fadilevatus kiskazoltatusavasa como kipalevaskas. Want a screw? No. Well, then how about if Michael drops that stupid accent and you come up and help us with our comedy game show, Joke Jeopardy. Ooh.
It's Leslie the Challenger. Let's hear it for Leslie. All right. You hear that, Leslie? They love you already. Fantastic. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself? That's fascinating, Leslie. Here we go. It's really silly jokes for 30 now, and the answer is... what you get in an Italian prison when you drop the soap.
What is innuendo?
Innuendo! We're moving on to the groaners column now. It's groaners for 10, and the answer is a part of the solar system named after a body part. Any guesses, contestants? Any guesses at all? Any what? Yes, Leslie!
Uranus.
Uranus! Unfortunately, that's the wrong answer, Leslie. Oh, what a shame. Any other guesses? Yes, Michael has a guess.
What are asteroids?
Asteroids! Ooh, shucks, Leslie. So close to Uranus, but unfortunately... wrong answer. Oh, well, here we go. Plenty of time left. We're moving on. It's groaners for 20, and the answer is a venereal disease for hillbillies.
What is doggonorrhea?
Doggonorrhea! Did you get that one, Leslie? That's what I thought. You off again. The final answer is your first name. Go with your feelings. Take a wild guess.
Leslie.
What is Leslie?
What is Leslie? Incorrectly phrased. What a terrible break, Leslie. Oh my gosh. But we have some lovely parting gifts for you. Let's see. Oh, a nice firm handshake. There you go. Let's have a nice hand for Leslie for playing Joke Jeopardy. Thank you.
With a little tag team comedy. Just like wrestling. Tag team comedy.
Go for it.
Old MacDonald was dyslexic. O-I-E-O-E.
Oh, no. This one's the really, really hostile magician card trick. Hey, you, get over here, pick a card. Hurry up. I don't got all day. Pick any of those. Show it to the audience quickly. Make sure everybody sees it. Except me. Okay, memorize it. Hurry up, memorize it. All right, I'll attempt to guess it now. Is it the 9 of diamonds? No. No? Fuck you! 4 of spades.
No. I hate that trick. I got a card cushion.
Our latest experiment in terror, Night of the Living Amish. Night of the Living Amish. It'll bore the shit out of you.
Also showing at selected theaters, the aliens are coming. The aliens are coming. And somebody better clean it up. The message is out.
Mars needs pussy.
Little green men in search of a piece of asteroid. They took the moon. Now they want Uranus. The message is clear.
Mars needs pussy.
Were those ray guns in their spacesuits? Or were they just happy to see us? No.
Mars needs pussy.
Mars needs pussy. Coming soon to a theater near you.
Charles Bronson, Clint Eastwood. They've played two of the toughest characters in the history of the silver screen. Now they're together at last in the most controversial film of our time. Okay, scumbag, let's get this thing over with. Go ahead, punk, make my day. Sudden romance. Back in the heart drive.
I'm gonna put my hands in here. This is all showbiz. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Are you guys close?
You had your shots first. Okay, we're ready.
Okay, ready?
It's time for Reverend Ernestine Angley's evangelistic shoe repair shop. Yes, I can save your soul. And I can heal you too. Yes. Now, so many people out there may wonder just how I got into the shoe repair business. Well, I was just walking down the street one day. It was a bumpy street. Not that bumpy. And a vision appeared before me. Yes, I saw a holy shoe. And as I picked up that shoe, an archangel appeared before me, and he spoke to me. Of course, he spoke to me in tongues. And he told me, I like that part. And he told me of my mission to repent, re-stitch, and re-soul my fellow brother and sister. Yes, this is the platform that I found. Now, some of you out there may wonder, is there anything worse than sin? And yes, there is. And that is when people pretend to sin. I missed that. That when people pretend to sin to accommodate others. I caught it that time. Because when you mock a sin, you're really doing the devil's work. But now it's time for today's reading. Today's first reading comes from the Shoe Testament, the Book of Bizness, St. Thomas McCann's first letter to the Hush Puppies, where it is written, "Be not a loafer." Can I get an amen? Amen. Be not a sneaker. Amen. Yet converse with the Lord. Fuck you. Now, everybody, please join in with me on today's hymn. Hymn 8.5D. You can't get to heaven on elevator shoes. So thank you and good Nike. Thank you.
Michael and I got together about a year ago. When I came to Pittsburgh, I had seen him for a long time, 20 years or something, you know. I went to Pittsburgh to see a concert and got together with Michael. So that was fun. We drank a little bit, we laughed a little bit. And then Michael was in town here, months ago. Christmas time. And we were here actually. Yeah. And I made some comment like, I'd love to get together again, sit and get drunk, and just talk about this shit. It'd be fun. That's all I ever intended. And of course, Michael being Michael, runs with it, it's like, well, I got Scorsese and he's going to do the filming, and and he just, all this is Michael.
Yeah, I just thought
one little idea.
I just thought it'd be a funny idea to say, why don't we get this stuff, just put it with the old stuff, and then make it a little documentary. They are dead. This is a dream.
So my biggest regret, honest to God, Michael, I told you this last time you were here, is, I know a lot of it was my fault, all my fault. My biggest regret is we were too fucking original.
Yeah.
I insisted on it. Every time he'd come up with an idea, I'd say, no, Saturday Night Live, 1986.
But it wasn't Saturday Night Live, it was 82.
If I had it to do over, I would rewrite all that shit in our own way, and we would have been famous.
I don't want to. Here's the thing.
Money.
Here's the thing. I remember the last thing I wrote. You look at it and you go, growth for growth's sake is just cancer.
Which is a good line.
That's crazy. You know the exact last show then?
Oh yeah. The very, very last show was in 98. 12/5/98 in Lafayette, Marietta, Ohio. Just like riding a bike.
98?
You put notes down for each of the shows?
The regular gig stopped in 96.
trying to do a comedy thing. I don't know if you know, I did Elvis Schmelvis.
You told me about that.
This is the world's worst Elvis impersonator.
That was after we were done, right?
After we were done.
Yeah.
And I had like a jumpsuit made. It had the McDonald's logo on it. And it said TCBY on the back. I had this
taking care of what, Big Mac?
Yeah, well,
stupid yogurt.
It's the yogurt store. It's the yogurt store. So I had this big styrofoam, this big rubber foam pompadour made. This is a total George thing. I had these whippets hooked up to these inflatables. I would come on stage to the 2001 Space Odyssey theme. I'd open up a McDonald's hamper, shove it in my mouth, then I would release these things, and I would get that on stage. Anyhow, and then this is when like Achy Breaky Heart was a big hit.
Yeah.
And my first line was, Billy Ray Cyrus is a big pussy. And everybody's like, boo! And from there I was like, well, I shouldn't open with that anymore. But I would do like, one of my Schmelvis jokes was this, because, you know, there's these crop circles that the people are seeing all over the place with these in these fields, these crop circles. And it just goes to show that there's aliens out there with superior farming equipment. And nobody ever did, boo, boo, where's George? Where's George?
Where's Vic?
How about that? Mr. Funny Guy there.
I wouldn't like as your mother once said, Michael, you can't do comedy. People will laugh at you.
And then she was so wrong. And she was so wrong. I proved her wrong.
She never really said that, did she? Oh, that's great.
So that's about it. Truth be known, my end game in comedy wasn't about being rich or famous. It was more about social comfortability and a creative outlet, and it grew into a fun way to be self-employed. It gave a crash course in self-resourcefulness and guerrilla marketing and promotion. Plus, it was an incredible way to see the country. We mostly played smaller towns you would never visit, and that resulted in some pretty wild and authentic experiences. When karaoke came along and wiped out all the one-nighters, most of the comedy clubs followed suit. Now it's back to pre-1980s landscape with a few major chain comedy clubs in major cities and local comedy nights happening without much fanfare or regularity. In the process of making this film, I contacted well over 24 of the struggling comics we worked with over 25 years ago via the internet, and I asked them to send me a little iPhone movie clip for the film. None of them responded, but surprisingly, all but 2 were still out there struggling, still looking for that big break. Just reminds me of like old geezers pumping quarters into a slot machine, or an old stripper that doesn't know when to quit. George and I are still both self-employed and dig what we do. He owns a martial arts school, and you can check out all the stuff I do at www.zomboworld.com. Not bad for a couple of schmoes.
It's an Indian sunburn. Oh my god, that's so funny.